I've been seeing, oh, I've been seeing your soul. Give me things that I wanted to know. Tell me things that you've done. I've been feeling old, I've been feeling cold. You're the heat that I know. Listen, you are my sun. I said there's more to life than rush. Not gonna leave this place with us. Drop the game, it's not enough. Hush, I said there's more to life than rush. Not gonna leave this place with us. Drop the game, it's not enough. I've been seeing, oh, I've been seeing your soul. Give me things that I wanted to know. Tell me things that you've done. I've been feeling old, I've been feeling cold. You're the heat that I know. Listen, you are my sun. I've been seeing your soul. Give me things that I wanted to know. Tell me things that you've done. I've been feeling old, I've been feeling cold. You're the heat that I know. Listen, you are my sun. I've been seeing, oh, I've been seeing your soul. Give me things that I wanted to know. Tell me things that you've done. I've been feeling old, I've been feeling.
Big up at the leany, meany, money, mo, and flower. You're the chosen one. Will your left hand's free and your right hand grip with another left hand watches right and slip. Schwartz is gone. Single action on me. Oh, no. Will your left hand's free and your right hand grip with another left hand watches right and slip. Schwartz is gone. Oh, no. Neoomgg Wiz girl, you're the one for me. Though your man's bigger than I am, all my days he disagrees.
Oh, fuck. Woo!
Well, my left hand's free. Well, my left hand's free. Well, my left hand's free. Oh, no. Ain't shady, baby, I'm hot. Light up a radical sun. Big up like the leany, meany, money, mo, and flower. You're the chosen one. Well, your left hand's free. Well, my left hand's free. Well, my left hand's free.
What advice would you give to someone just starting out skiing, or maybe someone who's thinking about quitting skiing?
Don't stop. Keep going. Surround yourself with good people, a good community. A lot of people that start skiing never really get into the community, so they don't have the right connections or the right friends in the community to keep them going. When you make those friends, just learning and keeping yourself interested in trying new things is much easier.
I see a mountain on my gates. I see it more and more each day. And what I give, it takes away. Whether I go or when I stay. I see a mountain on my gates. I see it more and more each day. I see a fire above the lake. I'll drive my car without the brakes. I see a mountain in my way. It's looming larger by the day. I see a darkness in my face. I'll drive my car without the brakes. Oh, give me some time. Show me the foothold from which I can climb. Yeah, when I feel low, you show me a signpost for where I should go. I see a mountain on my gates. I see it more and more each day. And my desire is an actress. Each day I see it less.
Super few.
Alabama, Arkansas, I do love my mom and pop, not the way that I do love you.
Well, holy, Leo, my, you're the apple of my eye. Girl, I never loved one like you.
Man, oh man, you're my best friend. I scream it too. There's nothing there. There ain't nothing that I need.
Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ. Ain't nothing please me more than you.
Let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
You say skiing's become a home for you?
I'd say it's definitely one of my homes. Yes, I have quite a few now. I've kind of branched off into certain different aspects of life. I got mountain biking communities, I have skiing communities, but skiing is probably number one. We got all the homies.
Jade,
Alexander,
do you remember that day you fell out of my window?
I sure do. You came jumping out after me.
I got into skiing through my parents. Grew up skiing in Randolph, New Hampshire. It was a great place to start learning, and I learned from some of the old guys out there, so I got my form down at a young age.
What's your favorite thing about skiing?
Probably the aspect of like, there's no shortage of things that you can do. You can ski moguls, you can ski in the trees, you can ski on powder days when everybody's at home drinking hot cocoa. There's just a ton of different things you can do.
What have been some of your biggest accomplishments related to skiing?
I'd say my biggest one was probably skiing Tuckerman's at a young age. I skied it at 8, and a lot of kids don't have the opportunity to ski something while also hiking it. Tuckerman's is so-called one of the steepest trails on the East Coast, so it was a really cool experience to ski that, especially in May, because you really only ski that place when it's late in the season.
How has your skiing changed over the past years?
I'd say it's changed from more of a traditional style, skiing trees, moguls, all that stuff. At a young age, I was skiing stuff that was significantly harder than a lot of the kids out in the East Coast, such as like Connecticut and these areas, get to ski. So skiing that at a young age really helped me progress past them. So I was opened up at probably age about 13 to trying new things. I had already had more of like a freestyle style, and I wanted to take it to the next level, so I started skiing some park, especially on the bad seasons. There's not always great snow out here, so finding new opportunities to get better in different ways is always a great thing to do.
What do you think is the most important skill for a successful skier?
Your mental ability, what you're capable of doing mentally. You can only be hindered by what you can't do in your mind. So in other words, like if you can't think of it, you can't do it, you know? So just getting your mind ready to do certain things, like if I'm going to go hit this jump, but I'm having doubts in my head, there's just already like possible failures. So just talk yourself into it. Just be like, I'm going to go do this, and boom, just do it.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge for you as a skier?
Definitely where I live. Living in West Hartford, Connecticut, we got one local mountain, really, Ski Sundown. It's great to have a mountain 30 minutes away from your house, but when it's the size of a trash mound, you don't have as much terrain. They don't let you ski in the woods there and stuff like that, so you're really limited to the groomers and the terrain parks. But through that, I've also gotten better at terrain parks and stuff like that. But I always thrived out a little bit further north, out in New Hampshire, Vermont, those areas. Yeah.
What keeps you skiing?
Kind of everything about it. I love the fact that you don't have to worry about anything else when you're skiing. It's kind of just another getaway. You can put everything behind you and just ski. There's always just new things to do, and just keeping you mentally like just free of this world that we live in today.
What inspired you to make this documentary about skiing?
Probably Warren Miller. I've watched his movies since, I don't even know now, like 2014. No, earlier. I streamed through cable on our old box television the first Warren Miller movie I ever saw, and it was just inspired me. And the way they put music into the ski edits were just something new that I'd never seen before. So just how different it was compared to what everybody else was doing.
What do you hope viewers will take away from this documentary?
Honestly, probably how hard it is. How hard it is to make these things. There's no shortage of film, so you could have hundreds of hours of film and still create a 30-minute video. And it's just crazy how editing and all that takes place within the film. So I just put editing in itself was just the biggest struggle we had. We had no prior experiences, and but hopefully they take away that skiing is more or less a lifestyle and less of a hobby. You live in that community and you kind of just thrive there. There's kind of nowhere else I'd want to be. There's just the best community there is. Good afternoon, Ross Bordeaux.
Good afternoon, Gavin Wigan.
I got some questions for you.
You ask away.
All right, so how'd you get into skiing?
So I got into skiing because of you. So Gavin Wigan got me into skiing. when I was in 8th grade. I was new at Watkinson, needed something to do during the winter, was also looking for friends, and skiing just kind of popped into my life at the perfect time. I'm super glad that it did because, man, I would not be in the spot, sit in this chair that I am today if it hadn't.
So, what would you say your favorite thing about skiing is?
The creative freedom for sure, and also just the fact that just a different sensation. I ride bikes as well, and there's something about skiing that's just so different than any other type of sport. It's really you versus you, but also you versus nature. But you're also in this perfect kind of symbiotic relationship with nature because the snow and you're in the trees, but you're also relying on that huge snowfall that might happen once a year. That one nor'easter that pops down just gets perfectly cold, just a perfect storm. It's unreal. It's like nothing else.
Yeah, yeah. And what's been some of your biggest accomplishments related to skiing?
Just how far I've gotten in the pretty short amount of time that I've been skiing. I've only been skiing 5 years, and I like to take a little bit of pride in the fact that I've learned fairly quickly, and also I've learned something that's fairly hard to learn if it wasn't introduced to you at a young age. Skiing's one of those things that's pretty difficult to catch on to. I mean, not super hard, but it's definitely not. There's fear elements, especially when you try and progress. And I've learned a lot in the 5 years of my skiing, so I like to take pride in that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Skiing is hard. No, I don't blame you. What inspired you to make a skiing documentary?
I wanted to take something that I was passionate about and tie it into my academics. I'm also doing a capstone project for the Global Studies program, and I wanted to kind of loosen my focus on academics because I really went fully into the academic aspects of that project. So I wanted to kind of take something that I was passionate about as a hobby and tie it into skiing.
Gotcha. And being new to editing software and all stuff like that, how did you overcome the challenge of it?
A lot of research. That was the main thing. It was pretty much just figuring out how to use the software, and once we did, everything became a lot easier. But we kind of were naive and went into the process of editing this project with not enough knowledge, or we kind of overestimated our knowledge, and that really hurt us in the long run. So definitely doing the research that we needed to do got us to where we needed to be.
Gotcha. And were there any glitches or crashes during this? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so we had a lot of glitches during the editing process itself, but I think it's important to talk about like how 56% of our files were corrupted. So we had GoPro files that basically wouldn't actually appear on the computer. They corrupted in the process of importing them onto the computer, or we actually never really got to diagnose that issue, so I don't really have a straightforward answer for that. I don't really think there is a straightforward answer for that. We tried to recover those files in Adobe Premiere Pro, which is our editing software, and unfortunately we're not able to. But we definitely also had some editing issues, but we ended up resolving those. So yeah, corruption and crashing were two big issues.
Yeah. And what do you think is the most important skill for a successful skier?
I would say fearlessness, just being able to kind of have control of your mind, and that's something that I struggle with a lot.
So during this, we talked about the glitches and the challenges, but were there any was there one thing that stood out within all of this that made it really hard to make this documentary?
Not one thing in particular, but it's kind of a culmination of things. I think that we had, for a period in time, Gavin and I, my project partner, couldn't agree on a lot of things, and that definitely hurt us, but we ended up getting past that. The editing and the crashing was also an issue. We talked about that earlier, and there were a lot of other minor issues. I think the weather when we were in Colorado wasn't quite on our side as well. I think there just could have been a lot more things that went our way, but you can only control so much. You can only do so much about minor problems as well.
Yeah, for sure. And what do you think makes this documentary unique or different from other ski films out in the industry?
I think that it truly shows how hard it is to make a documentary, and it's just like the only reason that professional level documentaries look easy is because of how much practice and repetition that has gone into those products. And those projects are massive. They have huge funds, but they also have highly skilled individuals backing them. So I think it's super important to recognize just how hard it is to be a film editor and just how much skill. It's truly a craft. Like, you really begin to appreciate that once you start doing it.
Yeah. And what do you hope the viewers take away from this documentary/film?
I think it's that. I think it's what I just said, just how hard it is to truly make a really fluid documentary.